All right, guys, welcome back. This is Heavenly Hills Homestead. I'm Ryan, and tonight we have Lowe's Family Adventures with us. This is Tonya, and
Hello, everybody.
excited to have her on. And we're gonna see what they do out there. You're in Utah, right?
Yep.
Yep. We'll see what they do out there in Utah. I've never had anybody from Utah on the channel, and so welcome and thank you for taking time this evening to come on here.
You're welcome. I'm excited to be here.
So we'll hop right into it. What got you guys started into homesteading?
It's pretty much been how I was raised. I wanted more natural for my kids than just having to run to the store every time I needed something. And
Right.
so I've just continued what I grew up on is what my kids are growing up on. So we have a 60 by 40 garden that we plant every year.
That's a good sized garden.
It is. And then I bottle most of it.
That's yeah. So you said you were raised that way. I know a lot of people like myself. I was raised growing gardens. But wasn't really raised to can it. Once the summer was over, there was no more fresh fruit and vegetables anymore. It was all done with. And so now that I'm doing it myself, I find myself wanting to do more of the canning and preserving and keeping those things. When you was a kid, was canning part of the process as well, or was it just growing? So it was. So
nope, it was from start to finish. It was there from probably May until late November. Okay. And then if we got a good sale, then we canned year round.
Right. So, you said you're doing this for your kids, so because it's important to you, and that's the same reason why I do it as well, because it is important to me to be able to preserve those things and have those things year round to stay away from the store as much as possible. Are you finding that your kids are liking the food better and doing better than they used to be before you guys were homesteading, or have you guys always homestead since you had them?
Yep, ever since.
Okay.
Yep. So they've been raised on it their whole lives.
Well, see, my kids, like I've gardened their whole life, but it wasn't until recently that we really started. Now we've canned for several years, but we didn't can to the extent that we do now, and so you can see a big difference in how the kids respond to food based on us canning and preserving the food that we grow out of our garden. And so a lot of people they don't understand that importance, right? And I always like to get that perspective of other people, because when you start pulling them off of the food that's at the store and you start putting them on food that you've preserved, you can tell a difference in how their behaviors are, how they eat.
Oh yeah.
Everything, right? And so I was just curious if you had seen those same things, maybe not in your kids, because your kids have been eating the food that you've preserved their whole life, but have you seen that in other people's kids?
Oh yeah. So so they go to public school. So then from like May to September, well, middle of August, when they're home and they don't get the lunch at school, I see a tremendous difference.
Right.
And they're happier those 3 months. And we tried to do the home lunch this year, and we lasted about 3 months. And then Mom got lazy.
Right.
And I'll ask them each morning, do you want to take something from home? And they're like, no. My daughter just flat out won't eat at school anyways.
Right.
So and today I asked my 10-year-old when I picked him up from school, I'm like, what'd you have for lunch? And he's like, well, I don't know if you consider it lunch, Mom. I'm like, okay, what did you eat? They give him Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I think we'll go back to a home lunch.
Right. And there's right here in my area alone, in Summers County in West Virginia, the kids for the past 2 years, the kids were so fed up with, like the high school, middle school kids were so fed up with the lunches they were getting. They were taking pictures of it and sending it to their parents. And like, this is what they're feeding us, and literally it looked like slop. I mean, it looked like literal slop. You remember on Ernest? Did you ever watch Ernest, the Ernest movies? And I think it was Ernest Goes to Camp, and he had the two guys on there. I can't remember their name, Vern and something else. They were slopping that stuff on the cadets, trays. That's what some of this looked like, and I'm like, our tax money goes to pay for this stuff, and this is what it looks like. This is pitiful. This is not food. This is not nutrition. And they're talking about, oh, it's nutritious and stuff. The county got in a lot of trouble over that. And yet, still, 2 years later, we're still getting screenshots and things that get snuck out every once in a while of lunches from the Summers County Middle School and High School that looks like pure slop. Like, I wouldn't even feed that crap to my pigs, and we're trying to feed it to our kids. And so I understand. I understand what you're saying. Like, he's right. You can't consider it lunch. It's garbage. And Pop-Tarts, I mean, that's like a little snack. That's not even, and it's not really, it doesn't even have nutritional value really to it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see where you could definitely say that you could see a difference between them, when they're home during the school, when school's out versus when they're in school.
Yes, so I have a 16-year-old. He'll eat every now and again at school, but he'll come home and like the first 20 minutes, he's going through my fridge to find something to eat because he's like, Mom, it's not worth eating at school.
Right. And that's sad because, as a growing kid, especially, I mean, from the time you're born until you're like 20 something years old, you're growing. Now, I mean, you kind of start slowing down a little bit, once you get in your teenage years, but you're still, you're actually from like, I think 16 to 23 or 22, your mind is still forming and shaping, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you need those calories and stuff. And so if you're not getting that food at school and you're having this big gap between breakfast and dinner, how can you have the fuel you need to concentrate in school, to do your work and all these other things, and to also be able to physically grow your mind and your body? It doesn't make sense. And it almost seems like they purposefully do that to the kids because they know, well, if we don't feed them properly or we don't feed them what they want, they're not going to eat. Therefore, they're going to be deficient in nutrients and stuff. And, like it's almost like they don't care,
Yeah, so my 10-year-old, he gets extreme headaches. And we finally went to the eye doctor because his pediatrician was like, oh, it's just stress headaches from trying to focus at school. And I'm like, no, I really think it's more than that. So when we just had our yearly eye exam, I was talking to the eye doctor about it, and he thinks that his eyes, so you normally look like this, he thinks he looks out like this, and he stresses so much on bringing it back. So he's had his new glasses not quite a month, but I don't think that's it either.
Nah.
And so we're going to actually go up to our children's hospital here, and I'm going to have them really deep dive into what it is, because in a week he'll have like 4 or 5 headaches.
Yeah, that shouldn't happen for a kid.
No. And they just wipe him out. He'll come home from school and he won't wake up until the next day.
That's insane. Yeah, that's a lot. That's something else, Hopefully they can find out, and hopefully it's nothing, major or neurological. Maybe it's something just something easily that could be taken care of. But there's so much that goes on in school, and stuff, and the nutrition and things, and all that. That's a huge problem. But you guys are homesteading so that you can try to eliminate some of that. You know, what else do you guys do out there on your homestead that makes who you guys are at Lowe Family Adventures?
So we have chickens. We have turkeys. We had ducks, but I lost all my ducks this winter. And we also have quails. And so
What kind of quail do you have?
I have bob whites right now.
Okay, we got quail as well. I've got two incubators full of eggs that we're hatching out right now. So
So do I.
yeah, I love it. I love it. We tried bob whites one time here. They didn't do. They lived, and then I don't know what happened. I found them both froze to death. And I didn't keep them outside. I kept them inside of a building. You know, and the building always stayed warm. But for some reason, they were both in there stiff as a board. So the only thing I could think of is they froze to death. And then we went to the Quartnix quail, I guess is what you call it. And we've had them for going on 2 years now, and they have done very, very well. At the height of it last year, we had between 250 and 300 of them. So,
oh wow, I've not had that many.
Yeah. You'd open up the door and it looked like ants moving all over because there'd be nothing but quail. So, put a bunch of those in the freezer and stuff. So, do you guys eat the eggs or do you guys eat the quail or what do you guys do with them?
So my goal last year was to process quails, but right now I'm down to like 10, and so I'm just gonna let those go so that we can get some more eggs, and then the ones that are in my incubator will be my processed birds.
There you go. Yep.
So, and I've not done meat chickens. That's my goal this year. I keep watching the local store to see when they get them in, because
Right.
I really want to deep dive more into doing my own meats.
Yep.
But I have a daughter that I don't know if she'll eat it.
Well, I have a couple kids that my daughter, she gets attached to things, but she goes.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
I think she'll get attached to them.
She gets a little attached, but then whenever it's time to kill it, she's like, "All right, Daddy, let's go," you know. And she'll be the first one out there. Are we going to shoot it or what? I mean, she you know. But my boys are the ones that are anti. Well, we can't eat that because we named it. We can't eat that because we've kept it for too long, you know. And so yeah, they're the trouble. The girl, she gets attached, but then I explain it to her. She's a daddy's girl, so I explain it to her. I'm like, yeah, but we raised this one to eat. And she's like, all right, do you want me to get your gun? Like she just starts asking questions like yeah, are we going to put its head on a block and chop it off? What are we doing, Dad? You know, like let's do this, right? Like she's happy about it, right? The neighbors got concerned one time because we were down there and she was, I think, 3 at the time. And she was just learning that we eat stuff, you know, that we raise it and we eat it. And they had a lot of cats down there, like a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so anything that you had a lot of was food, right? Well, she had a lot of cats down there and she asked her, she said, are you going to eat these? And the lady was like, did she just ask if we were going to eat the cats? And I was like, yeah. I was like, don't worry about it though. I was like, she's trying to learn what's edible and what's not. Hang on, let me plug my computer up real quick. Oh darn it! I knew that would happen. Anyways, but yeah, she was trying to learn like what was edible and what wasn't.
Yeah, my boys, I don't think I'll have a problem with my boys. My daughter though, she just did her hunter safety this last weekend, and it took some bribing to get her to do it. But she did it. She passed. So we'll see how it goes when it comes to getting licenses this year. But other than that, she's done really good with it.
Right. I can't believe I dropped that silly thing down there. The extension cord. There we go. For the computer. I dropped it.
Uh-oh.
I got it back. All right, there we go. I had to unplug it earlier so I could run my 3D printer, and I forgot to plug it back in. But yeah, kids are funny. How they respond to it, and so you gotta. The way that I've done it is I really just try to keep them open minded to it, and I'm like, look, if you go and get it from the store, it came from the same place. I mean,
Yep.
it went through the same process. The difference is we know where it came from. We know how it lived. We know how it was raised. We know what it was fed. And we know it was taken care of. And at the end of the day, that means more, or should mean more to us than, what we get at the store. And that we should be able to still consume it, right? And so the youngest boy, he's kind of like, but my older one, he's coming around to it to where he's a little bit more open minded than he used to be, about it, because he used to be he wouldn't touch it.
Yeah, I have 3 older boys, and my 2 hunt. My 16-year-old will hunt this year for his first time. And then my 10-year-old, he's like, let's go. But my daughter, she's in the middle, and she's like,
right, I ain't having no part of it. Right. I think she'll come around. You just got to give them time, and and just keep on reaffirming why you do it, the benefits of it. I tell you something that really helped my older one was showing him videos of how these animals are raised.
oh yeah, the ones that you get from the store.
Yes, and we showed videos of that, and he was like, "Oh wow, like I was like, so see, when you buy the meat from the store, this is what you're supporting. Do you want to support that? No." And immediately you could see him start to, he still struggles with it, but he's not to where he's, no, we're not eating, we're not eating it. He's come around to where, well, I'll eat it. I don't like having to do it, but I'll eat it now. So that was something that really helped a lot. Showing them how those animals are raised. In the I don't know what you would call it. I guess the store lineup, or how, what I mean, whatever you call it.
The feedlots.
Show them how Tyson raises their chicken. That they'll change their mind.
So I should do that. I should really show her that. It'd probably change your mind.
Yeah. I mean, because they like the animals, and so they don't want to see them living in mud or living in these little cages and stuff, not being able to be what they are. And so, they end up realizing, well, we're taking better care of them. It has the same end result, but at least they're loved and took care of, at the end of the day. And even though the end result's the same, they're going to give their life for us to have food. That they're better taken care of. They were a happier animal. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So and so I think that kind of helps with the process a little bit as well. So your guys' name is Lowe Family Adventure. Can you explain that a little bit for us?
So our original channel was our backyard, in our backyard, something like that. Right. And it started out as just recording everywhere we went. Because when I was growing up, we were never home on the weekends. We were always exploring somewhere here in Utah.
Right.
And I remember some of the places that we would go, but my he's passed on, and so I can't go and ask him, hey, where was this? But that's how the channel came about, and it started out just kind of a private channel, and then everybody on... Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Samantha, I am live. Now stop. They're fighting over an Oculus. So everybody's like, oh, where was that? Where did you go? You guys have so much fun. And so I was like, well, I'll start the channel. and then I can share it with everybody. And then it just grew from there. And then everybody wanted to know about when I canned, how I canned. And then it's just grown from there. Everybody wants to know how I did it, where we went. And I'm like, well, you can follow the channel and find out for yourself.
There you go. I like that. I like that a lot. So, what's it like living out there in Utah? I mean, is that the only place you've ever been? Is Utah, or have you lived anywhere outside of Utah?
Nope, just Utah.
Okay, because I've never. I've drove through Four Corners. Well, I've been to Four Corners, which is Utah, New Mexico, Colorado, and what is it, Nevada or something like that? I guess it makes Four Corners. I can't remember. No, it's Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and something Arizona. That's right, Arizona. And so I've been to Utah, like to Four Corners, and kind of up, a few miles into Utah there. But I've never really been to Utah, so I don't really know like what it's like there. So for people that don't know, really what it's like, what's it like living there in Utah? What do you guys have seasons? Is it, is it like a desert? What's it like there?
So we have all 4 seasons. So right now we're still winter. We still have snow, lots of snow.
Right.
We should start seeing early spring, the middle of April. Our rule of thumb out here is don't plant before Mother's Day.
Right.
So, because if you do, you're going to lose it.
Right.
I live, what do we live at? 65,000 feet. So where I'm at, we have pine trees, aspen trees. But if you go, 45 minutes to the west, we call it the West Desert. So it's just cedar and sagebush. You go to the east about 3 hours, and you're in Moab. So you have Red Rock,
right,
and the desert there.
Is that where the salt flats are?
Yeah, so they're about 2 hours north of me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much right in the middle of the state.
Okay. Have you ever been to Salt Lake?
Mm-hmm. I was there just yesterday.
Oh, really? What's that like?
A mess.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's a lot of people up there. The freeway's crazy up there. It really starts getting crazy freeway-wise we call the point of the mountains. So American Fork, Lehigh, it starts really getting crazy. Down where I'm at, we have a 2-lane highway. Up there, it's like 6 lanes both ways. Oh, wow.
That's crazy. That's a big difference. So if what's homesteading like there in Utah? I mean, do you guys have a lot of homesteaders, or is it, I mean, is there ranches and stuff out there too? I mean, what's it like out there?
So, there's a lot of ranches. There's a lot, and when people say homestead, pretty much everybody has chickens here.
Right.
A lot of cities are cracking down on, like if you can have goats or pigs or whatever. But if you're, what do they call it? What is it? Where you already have them.
Right. For grandfathered in.
That's grandfathered in, then they can't do anything about it. And so there's a lot of that going on right now. Everybody's like, no. Right. We've had them forever. And so the further south you go from Provo to probably Cedar City is mainly homesteads. And then out west is a lot of homesteading.
That's good though. I mean, it sounds like it's the majority of the state is geared toward homesteading or ranching, so it's geared toward a life to where you can be self-sufficient to a pretty good extent, to where you don't have to really rely on the big box stores for your food.
Yep. And there's farmers markets everywhere.
Really?
Yep.
That's awesome. Because there's only like I can name 2 of them, and both of them are about an hour away from me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I have one, maybe 2 blocks from my house. Then there's a big one in the next city over, and then there's I probably got 10 within like a 20-minute drive from my house.
That's awesome. That is really awesome. So what's a typical day out there for you guys? You know, like you get up, you got to feed all the animals and stuff. You know, what's a typical day for you all out there?
So Kevin goes to work, and then I get up, get the kids up, then I'll take them to school, and then I'll come back and I'll feed the animals, and then I'll go to work. And I work for about 3 hours, and then I come home, and I'm home for the rest of the day. And then I'll go pick those guys up, and then depending on what I've done, we either go back out to the garden or something around the house.
So you mentioned the garden. When are you guys? You know, you said you don't plant before Mother's Day. So when do you guys typically start your seeds, and what kind of stuff do you guys grow in your garden?
So I actually just bought one of those. It's not what is it, Arrow Garden, the little one that sits on your counter. So me and my little guy just bought one of those, and we started it. But I've also got a greenhouse that's 4 feet by like 6 feet tall, and I just did the little pea pods in that, and so I'll be planting those probably tomorrow.
Awesome.
I do lots of tomatoes because I do spaghetti sauce, just bottled tomatoes. I've tried ketchup. I've failed at that miserably multiple times. So I don't know what I do wrong with it, but it doesn't taste like ketchup. I do peas, carrots. Sometimes we do corn. We have failed at potatoes. Doesn't matter what way we do it. We can grow the green, but we cannot grow a potato.
Huh.
Are
you giving them a lot of phosphorus and potassium? Have you checked your soil to see if you? Huh?
Our soil here sucks.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
I don't.
No, you're good. You're good. Word. No, you're fine. You're fine.
So 2 years ago, we have a big place out here called Olson's, and we took some of our soil down there, and he's like, you're never going to really grow anything because we're so clay that nothing really does good.
That's the reason why your potatoes won't grow.
And so the last couple years, well, first we tried adding, what did we add? Oh, I can't even think of it right now. But we added some nutrients to the ground, and they're like, yeah, it'll make a difference. So we did that. And then we tested again, and it didn't do anything. So I've been building raised beds out of just random material that I have around the yard. Right. And so that has made a huge difference on product.
Right.
But it's just trying to get our ground better.
Huh? No, good. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But so the potatoes, I can almost tell you right now, if you can get some really loose compost, and grow them in those raised beds, you're going to grow potatoes. Potatoes, like when they first start, and you start getting the green, the tops to grow, they want nitrogen, and then you can switch that over to phosphorus and some potassium, and you'll do really good. I cannot grow potatoes in the ground because I got a really heavy clay soil as well, and so I get little potatoes like this to maybe that big, like that's as big as I can get. But if I put them in raised beds, I can grow the heck out of potatoes. Yeah, so they do really good. The clay soil, it hampers how the tubers can grow and stuff, and because when it rains and just natural settling of clay, it compacts. Even if it's super loose at first, and you plant potatoes and you don't walk on it, you don't do anything, you just plant them and walk away. They still have a really hard time. So actually, the best potatoes I ever grew is I took sheep wire, sheep fencing, right, and made a great big old compost bin out of it. All right,
Okay.
and I layered it. I layered it leaves, and then I layered some clay dirt in there. All right, and then I layered grass, and then leaves or grass, and then clay, and then leaves, and then clay, and then grass again. And I did that all the way until the bin was completely full. And it was like a 4 foot tall bin, and it was probably, I don't know, 5 foot across or so, really big. And I did that, and I just took potatoes, whole potatoes that were spudding out. They were Kennebecks, and I just put them in there. Just set them. I just put them in there about 2-3 inches deep inside of it, and all the way around it. And then on the top of it, I planted them all in the top. And the entire center of that, all I did whenever I got ready to harvest it is because the compost was active. It was actively composting, but the clay gave it some nutrients that was held in there by the clay. The grass was giving it, the some nitrogen, and then the leaves was just actively breaking down, giving them whatever compost material that was coming, whatever nutrients were coming off of that, plus some of the beneficial stuff that was in the leaves. The mycorrhiza stuff that was in the leaves, the natural stuff that was native here. And so whenever I got ready to harvest them, I just took the fence and busted it down, and everything was loaded with potatoes. I mean, it was loaded plumb full. And then right beside it, I planted in ground, and I had tilled that ground up really, really well. And I think there was 15 wheelbarrow full, and there's big wheelbarrow full of compost in that I kept tilling and tilling and tilling with the clay, and it didn't grow nothing. So, I mean, the clay was just that dense, that hard, that even 15 wheelbarrows full. And I think it was a, let me see, a 6x5 area, I think is what it was. And I had tops that were 10 to 12 foot long, right?
Had tops. We never had any potatoes come out of any of it.
Right. And so I thought I was going to have them, and I didn't. And I had small tops in the compost pile, but I had a lot of potatoes. And so, the tops, a lot of people will tell you, the tops don't really mean a lot. They're there. Yeah, they're growing, but they're not telling you what's going on underneath there. And so when I did that, I think I did that in 2022. You could tell, there was a lot of tops that were in the ground, not a lot of tops in the compost, but the compost had a lot of potatoes. And, the in ground did not have any, really. I mean, they were some, but they were not really much to talk about. So yeah, I'm big into putting potatoes around here in raised beds, or building a compost bin out of, sheep wire and layering it. And it works well that way. It works really, 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 really well that way. So maybe give that a shot. Yeah, absolutely. I would. The other thing, that clay soil, that would help break up your clay soil is putting coarse sand in there. Don't put fine sand, but put coarse sand in there and till it up. And don't do a lot of it at one time. Do a little bit each year. Like you said, you got a 40 by 60. You could probably dump, 2 tons of sand out there on that, and, till it in this spring, and see what it does drainage wise, and see if it helps. The other thing that you can do is, if you know somebody who has a ripper blade, they can come in there with a ripper blade and rip it up and literally flip it upside down, and then come in there and dump several loads of compost in there and disc that compost in, and leave that, try to leave that clay up on the top, and then dump gypsum on there. If you dump bags of gypsum on there, the gypsum actually breaks the clay molecules down. So
Isn't that what we put on it? Yeah, that's Kevin says that's what we put on it
yep.
from the nursery.
Yeah, and it takes several years to break it down, but you got to remember gypsum is just calcium, and calcium is used by everything. And I ain't kidding you. The more I put down of gypsum, the better my plants get every year, and the denser they are. So and bigger they get. So I mean I've grown bell peppers that were over a pound.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, just one bell pepper over a pound. So I mean the gypsum can really help with your clay issues, but you won't see it immediately. It's over time that breaks down and eats it. So definitely keep putting gypsum on there, put some more sand on there, or put some sand on there, and then put some compost on there if you can, and till all that in and let it do its thing. You can act like me. I put gypsum on in the fall, and that way it sets all winter long, and kind of has that that time span between late October, November until May to sit there and actively work in the soil the entire time.
That's when I put my leaves in that on is in October, and then I till it in, and then I put another layer on top.
That leaves are great, for that as well. Leaf compost. I love leaf compost because it's got your natural mycelium and stuff that's already around, that's there, and you're putting that back into your soil, which you can build a really, really good soil just off of doing your own composting or your own, putting your own leaves and stuff down. I run over here to the woods, and the neighbors at first they were like, "What are you doing?" But I would go over with the lawnmower, and I would put the bagger on the lawnmower, and I'd make sure all the sticks and rocks were out of the way, and I would mow the woods, right? And what I was doing is I was bagging up, I was mulching and bagging the leaves, and then once my bagger got full, I'd dump the bagger into a contractor bag, and then I'd fill the contractor bags up and bring them up here and dump them on the beds and stuff and on the patches, and that worked out really well too.
Good.
Yeah.
I never thought about going to mow the forest.
yeah. One day I was just sitting there and I was like, I wonder, because I need leaves, and if I mulch, here's the thing: if you mulch it up and you turn it into smaller pieces, it breaks down faster, and that's what you want. Essentially, you're trying to cut the time in half that it takes to break down. And then if you add your early grass cuttings in there to it, it'll really burn it up. I mean, it just eats up really, really fast. So it helps tremendously.
Yeah, so I have a neighbor across the way. She has 6 huge cotton trees, and so every year when the leaves fall, we all go and bag them up, and I bring them home, and they go in the garden.
Awesome. That's awesome, because a lot of people they just let the leaves sit, or they mulch them up for their yard, and well, not even for their yard. They just cut them up and let them lay on the yard, and then but their leaves are so beneficial for compost and for your garden and stuff. It really helps out a whole lot. So you guys moving forward, what are y'all's plans for your homestead? What are you guys what's the goal for Lowe Family Adventures?
Like long term or short term?
Both of them.
Long term, I hope to move.
Okay.
I hope to move further south to a bigger area, so I can have more animals than what I have where I'm at.
Right.
Short term, I was saying I would really want to dip into doing our own meats at home. So I want to do rabbits or chickens, meat chickens. So I already have chickens and I have turkeys, but I've never processed any of them for the freezer.
Right.
So I would like to do those in the quails. We don't have any other animals. We had a goat. My dog killed it, so.
Oh man.
Don't have any of that no more. Bigger garden. I planted last year some more. I planted elderberry, several different grapevines, and black raspberries to go with my other raspberries that I've got. So I really want more here at home than having to go to the store.
Right, right. And those things are all good. You know, the blackberries, elderberries, and things like that. Those are very, very good to have. So you ain't got to go out and forage as much for them, and you got them right there on your property, and you know you can use them. Elderberry is very, very good for colds and stuff like that. You know, so is there more push, do you think, for you guys to make more medicinal plants on your homestead? Or are you going to try to start growing more medicinal stuff?
I would like to. So this Christmas, I got a couple home remedy books, and I really want to go into doing that. So hopefully more of those.
Right.
Not done a lot of them, but
I've done very few of them, but the ones that I have done have helped. I mean, you know, they've helped me out. And my neighbor just called today, and he was like, "Hey, that stuff you gave me, you know, a month ago, how much am I supposed to take?" Mom was taking it, and she got to feeling better, but now she's not feeling good again because she quit taking it. So how much of it is she supposed to take, and how much of it am I supposed to take? And I was like, "All right, man, no problem. Just take a shot each, you know, a couple times a day, and it'll help clear you up." And surprisingly, that stuff is so beneficial. I mean, and it helps. And you know, people are so quick to go get something over the counter or go to the doctor and grab something. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, if you know you need that. But I think if we tried to treat ourselves at home for a little bit before we did that and see if we get better off natural things, it would make the things that are on the shelves at the store or in the pharmacy more effective.
Yes.
Is that what you think too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
so my 16-year-old, so he was extremely sick the first little bit. Well, actually, we'll talk about my little guy. So the first year, he was in and out of the hospital constantly, and they kept telling us that he had the coronavirus. And I was like, okay, well, what do we do? And they're like, well, we just got to pretty much fill him full of this antibiotic. Well, he's now immune to it. It doesn't do him any good if he gets sick.
Right.
And they've tried multiple antibiotics on him, and it just has to run its course because nothing touches him now.
That's sad.
It is. And they're like, why isn't this working? And I'm like, you got to look at his history for the first year and a half. Every stinking holiday, that poor kid was in the hospital.
Right.
And they kept telling us it was the coronavirus. It was the coronavirus. Or there was one time he actually had RSV, but everything else was the coronavirus. And now, knock on wood, he honestly doesn't get sick.
Well, that's good.
But when he does, he's out, and they'll give him 2-3 different antibiotics, and nothing works for him.
That's bad. And see, that right there is the whole thing in a nutshell. So I had just talked to the chief of internal medicine for the VA where I go, and you know, we were talking, and he was like, because you know, I was very firm with, I don't want no antibiotic unless I need the antibiotic. And he was like, you know, you're one of the very few that come in here and say, don't give me medicine unless I absolutely need it. And he was like, which is pretty cool. He was like, because you're right. And he was like, what we do as doctors is we try to, you know, do a process of elimination. If we can't figure out what it is, if we've tested you for strep, mono, flu, coronavirus, you know, et cetera, and we don't know what's wrong with you, the differential diagnoses could be 1 in a million different things. And most of the time, what we used to do was we would just throw antibiotics at it, broad spectrum antibiotics, hit you with it, shotgun approach to it, and we usually killed it all out. And we didn't know what you had, but we knew you wasn't sick anymore. He said, but now our way of thinking is changing to where we know our antibiotics aren't as effective anymore. We're having a hard time trying to make a stronger antibiotic that will be effective. And what we've done in the process, because we did a shotgun approach, is we made everything a superbug of what it used to be. So now our antibiotics are not nearly as strong. Now we're having to combine multiple antibiotics to try to kill off one thing that used to be a simple thing. And so, you know, he really liked the fact that I didn't want anything unless I absolutely needed it. And, you know, I really think that that's how we really need to get back to, you know, like there's nothing wrong with taking antibiotics if you need it. But if you've got a cold and you're sick or whatever, and you've been tested for a million things and they can't figure out what's wrong with you, then maybe try the natural stuff first and see if that don't start to help take some things away, right? And if it starts to give you, you know, relief and reducing symptoms, then you're on the right track, you know. Now, that's not to say you sit there and try it for 2 weeks, and if it don't work, then go, because if you're getting worse, you need to go back and figure it out. But, you know, at the same time, if you see symptoms improving and stuff, then the stuff is working. You know, just keep right on with it unless you see something change and it's no longer effective, then of course go and try to get it figured out. But that is what we need to do. We need to get back to natural medicines. We need to get back, like Shannon Bennett said, or Barrett said, you know, making tinctures and stuff. Tinctures are great, a great tool to have. You know, very beneficial for us. Not a lot of people though know how to use it or know how to even make it. You know, and so we've lost ourselves throughout the years because we became so dependent upon the hospitals and stuff. Like yesterday, a good friend of mine, his mother-in-law, very ill, went to the hospital, and when she got there, there was people that said they had been there since 6 a.m. and this was like 5:30 in the afternoon or evening, right? And they sat there till 7, and they still didn't know when they were going to be able to get her in, because there were still people. They put a person that had blood pressure of 250 over 183 back out in the waiting room to be waited on later, because there was nowhere for them to check her at. The ER was completely filled. And so, so you got all these different things that you got to think about, you know, hospitals being kind of overran with patients and different things. And if you can remedy this stuff at home, if you can eat healthier, which makes you healthier, and then have the home remedies at home, I mean, you know, it really does help limit the time that you're going to be out around other sick people at hospitals. Might have to wait to be seen, et cetera, et cetera. And it also makes the medicine that they do have there more effective for you when you do get something.
Oh, yeah. So another thing that I've noticed this year, so I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or whatever, but I've noticed I sleep extremely hot this year.
Yep.
And so I never took my little air conditioner out of my window. And so I have it running. I have my window open. But neither one of me or my husband has gotten sick this winter.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's just having the cold air constantly moving in our room at night, but neither one of us has been sick. Yep. And I actually opened my little guy's window and my daughter's window, but don't let them know that.
See, we sleep with air conditioner here too. I don't like being hot. I can't stand being hot.
No.
So and it does work.
You get me my books that your mom got me. I'll show you the books that I got. I got one last year for Christmas, and then I got 2 this year, and they're all home remedy books that I hope to deep dive into this summer when the plants are available, because I have a freeze dryer, so I can freeze dry a lot of them and just have them available when whatever.
Freeze dryers are really nice. Do you guys got a Harvest Right?
Yeah. Yep.
You got the small one or the big one?
I have a large.
Okay.
I was just there yesterday, and I asked him if I could trade mine in for the extra large. The cooker's massive.
Yeah.
But here's one of the books. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I see it. The Forager's Guide to Wild Foods.
Yep. So I have that one, and then
The Holistic Guide to Wellness. That's a good book.
And so she's got 7 books.
The Last Book of Herbal Remedies. The Lost Book of Herbal Remedies.
Yeah. So she breaks it down to what the plants look like, how much you need, how to take it, what it's good for. Because I'm done relying on other people.
Right. Yep. I totally understand that. I totally understand that for sure. So,
what book do you have, Shannon? She says she has a book on wild edibles.
There's so many different things like mullein. I didn't know mullein at all, and I thought
everywhere.
Right, and I thought what I had growing out there was lamb's ear at first, so I was just letting it grow, and then it started growing this big long seed pod, and I was like, "Oh, hang on, that's mullein," and I kept it. I kept the seeds and everything. I'm gonna have mullein growing everywhere this year, And dandelions should be coming up next month. I'm gonna be picking dandelion root, and I love making dandelion jellies and stuff like that. I love dandelions; they're so good. There's so much stuff though that we can eat out of the yard that we've been told we're weeds our whole life.
Yep. So I don't know what their actual name is, but they're little green things. We always called them cheese growing up. Those are actually really good for you too.
Huh.
But I don't remember what their real name is.
I guess I've ever seen them. We've got spearmint that grows here. Like wild, I think it's called tea berry is what it's called. But it's got a little red berry and it's green leaves, and you pick the leaves off and eat them. It tastes like spearmint gum. So yeah, we eat those, and you can make teas and stuff out of it and everything. Tastes good though. There's just so much around here that grows, and it's crazy. Like oh goodness, what was that one? Milkweed. You can use milkweed for stuff, and people call it a weed, but I mean, you can use it for things. I mean, there's so much different stuff that can be used, and it's crazy to me how we've kind of gotten this mindset of, oh, that's a weed. That's a weed. Everything's a weed, but
it's because we went to the point that you went to the doctor for everything. And so what used to be useful is now, oh, that's a weed. You don't need that. You go to the doctor for that.
Right.
And so
right. And now we're getting back to the point where we're like, okay, well, I'm going to use these natural remedies. I'm going to use this, these herbals and stuff and these weeds to help heal my body. So now people's going out and searching for this stuff, and
you got to look, weeds are free or going to the doctor for $50 to $100 each time.
Right. Or more. Cause there's some people who pay a whole lot, go to the doctor. I just seen a video the other day. Somebody who had insurance and went to the doctor, and I think they had like a fish hook or something in their neck or something like that. And it was like a $1,900 bill to get the fish hook removed.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive. And I'm sitting there going, why did it cost that much just to remove the fish hook? I mean, he's got insurance. Why did it cost so much, But
so that's my little guy. So he just got his glasses. So his glasses were $1,000, and the insurance wouldn't pay for any of that.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And I'm like,
why do we even have insurance anymore?
I had called and asked them that. I'm like, why do I even have you if you're not going to help pay for his glasses?
Right.
And they're like, well, it's the technology and this and that. And I'm like,
yeah.
Hello.
Right. It drives me insane how the world is just kind of flipped upside down, and nothing makes you, they don't care to take your money, but they ain't helping you with anything, I mean, not a thing. So, I mean, you might as well try to do whatever you can to save money, and to remedy yourself.
Yep.
So what's the first thing you think you're going to try to make out of those books? What's like some of the things first things you want to make?
A lot of it is the mullen. There's a lot that you can do with the mullen. Other than that, we have natural elderberries here that
Okay.
I found 2 years ago, but it was too late. And then I was archery hunting, and I was like, "Oh, I'll pick them on the way home." Well, somebody else had picked them, so that's when I was like, "I'm gonna plant one in my yard."
There you
Then
go.
nobody can plant it.
Right. So it sounds like
So,
hunting's a big thing out there. What all do you guys hunt out there?
deer and elk.
Okay.
We've yet to draw any moose tag. Stop. His side of the family hunts antelope.
Okay.
So, and then there's like pheasants and that you can hunt as well.
Do y'all have whitetails and mule deer or just mule deer?
We have mule.
Okay.
No whitetail.
Well, that sucks. Y'all need some whitetail out there.
Yeah, Kevin keeps telling me that we need to go back so he can hunt a whitetail.
Yep. Whitetails are fun. So, but y'all guys probably have to do a lot of stalking out there, right? In order to kill an elk or a mule deer. Y'all probably don't get to just hunt in a tree stand or a blind like we do here, right?
So we do, but not like the way you guys do. Will somebody come get this cat? See, I told you he's back.
YouTube famous, man. He's YouTube famous.
Say, my name is Jack, and I am a pain.
He has a look like he could just be a pain, you know.
Uh-huh.
Just the look on his face is like, like you're making me leave. Like you can tell he's a pain, you know. Like
his whole name is Jackass.
That's funny.
Because ever since he was little, he has been like under my feet. He'll get on the chair right before I sit down. I'm like, will you stop?
Right.
But so his name's
funny.
Jack.
Nanatam, I personally do not think that mule deer taste the same as a whitetail. That's just me. I don't think they taste the same.
I've not had a whitetail to tell you the difference. I do know elk and muley are completely different.
Yep. Elk, I love elk. I love the way elk tastes. Elk is phenomenal.
Yes.
And mule deer tastes good too, but I there is a different taste between the two. I've had both of them, and unless it was where no, I don't even think it would be that. I don't think it would be where one was butchered by one set of people and the other one was butchered by another.
No, group. A lot. So even here with our muley deer, if your deer was from the mountains versus out on the desert, they do taste different. These ones are a lot drier, the ones out on the west desert versus the ones in the mountain. But a lot of people will tell you that the way that they're cooked. So you don't obviously cook them super fast because not even a beefsteak tastes good when it's cooked fast.
Right.
So
the only thing that I could think of just sitting here would be like what their diet is.
Oh yeah.
You know, whitetails are going to eat a lot of acorn. They're going to eat a lot of hickory nuts, stuff like that. Mule deer are going to be eating a lot of sagebrush and grass, you know, plain grasses and stuff like that, and maybe pine nuts or something, you know. So
we have acorns.
Do y'all got acorns out there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but maybe it's just the difference in what they eat, you know what I mean, or the amount of what they eat, you know, because a lot of times when you see mule deer, they're out on the plains or in the rolling hills, you know what I mean. They're not really around a lot of trees. So
we're on the bottom end of the Rockies, so we do have mountains.
Okay.
What is the top of Payson? I think the top of our canyon is 10,000 feet up there.
That's high.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm at 2266, I think, elevation. And you know, I'm like, oh, that's pretty high, but no, I ain't that high.
Yeah, so me sitting right here, I'm at 65.
That's crazy. That is insane. the Shannon said that they got Bug Out Gardening Guide by Ron Foster.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what
into
they
that
got.
one.
As far as predators go, what kind of predators you guys got out there?
Like coyote type?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, coyotes, bobcat, fox, mountain lion, stuff like that.
all of them.
Oh, really?
Cougars. Yep. Bears. We have them all.
Do you guys have to worry about that where you're at?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Because I don't know that I'd want to homestead out there because of those types of predators. I mean, I get to watching mountain men and stuff, and it's like some of these places they're homesteading and they got wolves, they got coyotes, they got fox, they've got bears, they got all this stuff, and I'm like, and not just in a few, they got it in excess, right? There's bunches of these things out there, and mountain lions and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think I want to homestead around all that stuff, because it would make it very challenging.
No, we have it. So I don't want to say I'm in the middle of town, but the only thing I have to worry about here is hawks taking my chickens.
Yeah.
But like when I'm up hunting, I've had a bear come in under our tree stand. I've had a bobcat. I've not personally run into a cougar. I have had one run across the road in front of me. That sucker was massive. Well, so our dirt roads are what, 18 feet wide? So they're like
right.
two. And it hit the one side and made it all the way across before it hit the other side.
That's crazy.
I was like, holy shit, Kevin, what was that? He's like, that was a cougar. I was like, oh.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see one of them at all. I've been I've seen pictures where they've said that they were here in West Virginia, like mountain lions or whatever. And I have friends who have said they're not the type of people who would make stuff up. And they've said they've seen them, So my buddy Zach, he said he had seen one. He actually called the DNR while he was sitting there watching it, and was like, what's the law on shooting a mountain lion? And the person on the phone said, well, there is no mountain lions in West Virginia. And he said, well, if that's the case, I'm going to shoot this one. And they said, if you shoot it, you'll go to jail. And they hung the phone up. And so he tried to call back, and they wouldn't answer the phone. And so, and this was back in 2006 or 7, I think. So yeah, and like I said, he's not the type to exaggerate and make stuff up. So I believe he's seen what he's seen, and actually where he was hunting at was a friend of ours, dad's property, who has like 160 some acres. And he had actually said that he thought he had seen one in that very same area. He just thought that it was a very, very big bobcat at first, and then because it was at dusk when he seen it. And then he was like, well, the more he kind of looked, he thought, well, maybe it wasn't, but then he kind of blew it off, he said, and stuff until Zach seen it. So, there's people around here that, said they've seen it. And that's really not that far from me where I'm at right now. That's probably about 14 miles away. So not very far. Yeah, not very far away at all. So, because they live on Sewell Mountain and I'm up here on White Oak, so it's not very far at all. In fact, those two mountains are very close. The only thing that separates them is the New River, and the New River can be gotten across very easily. If a mountain lion wanted to get across, it's not that hard to get across. So,
we have deer in town. So,
yeah,
but we've never had like bobcat or cougar in town.
Right. So, well, what are, outside of the hawks, is there anything else that makes it hard to homestead out there or to grow out there?
No. The only thing that makes it hard is my neighbor's dog eats my chickens. But other than that, no.
I think we'd be getting rid of a dog. So I think we'd be getting rid of a dog.
Oh, they did.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I felt bad, but it had been the 10th time that he had taken my chicken. So,
Right. Yeah,
yep.
that's no fun. We've had some animals in our yard that's wiped our whole flock out not long ago. So, yeah, very, very, very difficult, especially when you're dealing with expensive birds like we were, because we had some very rare breeds and stuff, expensive breeds, and wiped them all out.
Yep. I have 3 chickens now and 3 turkeys because it was right before winter hit. The neighbor's dog took like 7 of my birds.
Oh man, yeah, that's rough. It's very rough. So in the summertime, is it hard to grow out there? Is it really hot, or what's the climate like in the summertime there?
Our normal is between 100, maybe 105. If we go above that, then it's like a major heat wave out here. But I've never lost a garden
Oh,
to
really?
that.
Really? Because if it got 105 here, my garden would be dead.
It looks like crap, but
Right.
then at night when it goes down, it perks right back up.
Oh, that's cool. Is it like a dry heat out there, or is it humid?
No, it's dry.
Okay. Yeah, that might be what the difference is, because here it's very, very humid. So it gets hot like that, and my plants are just like, wow, they can't breathe.
No, we're dry here. I don't think I could live where it's humid. I just
it sucks. It definitely sucks. Go outside and you ain't even did nothing yet. You're just walking and you're sweating. So yeah, that stinks really bad. So what all things are you going to plant this year, and then I'll cut you loose.
So I want to do a bunch of varieties of different tomatoes, and then I'm going to try. I found it last year, but I didn't buy it. It's a round zucchini, and it grows about that big.
Really? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Is it a green zucchini?
Yep, looks just like a zucchini, except for it's only about that big.
I'm gonna have to look into that because I've never heard of that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I want to try that. I grew onions last year, but only a few actually come up. So
Right.
I'm actually going to leave where they were and just add to it to see maybe they'll all grow this year.
Right.
I want to do a couple different corns. You got me sold on carrots, like all different carrots.
I love carrots. I love carrots. They're fun.
So I actually have a cart full on Baker's website, sitting with everything in it.
That's funny.
I grow all different hot peppers, bell peppers, sweet peppers, butternut, spaghetti squash, zucchini, acorn. I want to try winter squash, but I don't know how to cook it. That sounds weird, but I don't know how to cook winter squash.
A lot of people just, like they put them up, and then when they're ready to get them out, they pull them out and they cook them up just like a butternut.
Okay.
They roast them. Either half them, gut the seeds out of them, put the half or both halves in the oven with butter and whatever on them, and they cook them like that and scoop them out, or slice them up. There's so many different ways. It's really easy to cook them. But most of them just like butternut.
Our biggest squash here that we like is spaghetti squash and butternut squash.
Yeah, those are very, very good. Very good. And actually, I like the spaghetti squash to actually make like spaghetti. Make a spaghetti type and use it for that. It turns out phenomenal.
Yep, and then whatever seeds I throw out or whatever I found interesting at the nursery when I go to the nursery.
Right. It's always fun to go to the nurseries and see what there might be.
Yep.
I like that. Most of the time around here, you don't find anything exciting. They're pretty dogmatic about putting the exact same thing in there every year. Better Boys, mortgage lifters, et cetera. It's the same every year. And that's why I don't like, I like to go and look and see if there's anything different, but the majority of the time there's not, because I've got pretty much the entire Baker Creek catalog sitting in my boxes back here. So I don't really have anything to want for, like the Sartre Louise tomatoes and which is a purple and yellow tomato. Just so many different types.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's in my cart.
Yeah, I got you now listen. When you take a bite of that tomato, just be prepared for your taste buds to do all sorts of weird things, because it just tastes so good that you try to pinpoint like what is that taste, and you cannot figure it out. It's so good. Like, it's sweet and has this very, very low tart. I mean, low tart, but it's so sweet, and it's got this fruity note to it, and I am telling you, it is phenomenal. And Alice's Dream is another one that is phenomenal. It's like a tiger striped tomato. It's like a yellow with like red striping in it, and it turns purple on the top. It's called Alice's Dream. Wow. Yeah, and now them are hard to get from there too. So Sartre Louise and the Alice's Dream, both hard to get from there. But there's just so many different I've got like 80 some different varieties of tomatoes that I grow, and every year I add on to that, So I mean, and like I've got like 100 and some pepper varieties that I grow, and so some of my favorite peppers are the Manzano and the Ají Charapitas. Those are by far my two favorites. One of them are very, very little. The Ají Charapita is the most expensive pepper in the world. Now they say that like a pound, I think it's a pound of that is like 10 grand.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Now I've read that online and stuff, but they call it the most expensive pepper in the world. But I grow several plants of those. And the Manzanos are fantastic. I love the Manzanos. Both of them are hot peppers, but they're not like so hot that they're going to, like not like Carolina Reaper or something like that. And then of course I grow the really hot ones and the really sweet ones, and probably the sweetest pepper to grow, and by far our favorite, is the Leysa, Leysa. Very, very thick pepper. It kind of looks like a upside down heart almost, Okay. No, not an upside down heart. It looks like a heart, but anyhow, kind of heart shaped, but it's round on the top and kind of pointy on the bottom, like a heart. But anyhow, very good. It's red with black on it. This is a very good pepper.
What do you use that in?
We use it in the salsas. We use it in salads. We use it, I mean, pretty much everything. Like when I go out here, the best salsa we make is actually the best what we call base, and we make tomato base, and what that consists of is and our salsa is too. We'll go out there and I'll get all the tomatoes and I'll get all the peppers, and I'll say, okay, if we don't want to make it hot, like really, really hot, I take all the hot stuff away, of course, but as far as peppers go, and we'll mix in every pepper we have except for the extremely hot ones, and we'll mix in all the tomatoes that we got. And we'll make either salsa or we'll make tomato base, which tomato base we use for making spaghetti sauce. We use it for marinara. We use it for a ton of different things. Like we made, I think there was 48 quarts of tomato base, and we're almost out of it already. Yeah. It's like it just goes by quick. So next year I'm going to make even more. But the tomato base has got, there's some onion in it, garlic in it. Of course, every tomato that we grow out there in the garden, every pepper except for the hot peppers, we might put jalapenos in there sometimes just to have a little bit of a spicier one. But the majority of the time we leave all the hot peppers out of the base. Now, if we make salsa, we make peach salsa, we make mild salsa, hot salsa, and really hot salsa. And so, like I say, though, we use all the tomatoes and we use all the peppers. And what I have found is when we would keep it to just certain types of tomatoes and certain types of peppers, the flavor was just okay. But when we started using all the peppers and all the tomatoes to make these things, the flavor is upped like really, 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 really high. Because you're getting that Sartre Louise and that Alice's Dream mixed in with a mortgage lifter or, you know, a watermelon beefsteak or whatever, right? So those bigger tomatoes, like mortgage lifter, like watermelon beefsteak, they don't have as much of a sugar content. They're more acidic, right? Which is fine because you want acidic whenever you're canning, but at the same time, the flavor profile is not as deep, right? It just tastes like a tomato. And so when you start mixing in, you know, the Thornbird's terracotta or Thornbird's lemon blush or orange peach and all these different ones, mixing them in with you know, those more acidic beef steak style tomatoes or Amish paste or whatever, the flavor profile is upped because you're getting those sugar notes, you're getting those other flavor profiles, and it makes for a deeper, richer tasting salsa or even base. Yeah. And then the same thing goes with the peppers. You know, all those peppers have such a different flavor profile. Like the Lachey is very, very, very sweet. Like you could take the sweetest bell pepper you've ever ate and probably up that by like 10, right? The Jimmy Norello, I think is how you say it. Another very, very sweet pepper. I don't think it's as sweet as the Lachey, but it's still very sweet pepper. And so when you're mixing these different flavor profiles into your salsa and your base, I mean, you're really upping the flavor and and you're actually maximizing how much you're going to get too. You know, I mean, you're making it stretch a good ways, but the flavor is just so much more flavorful, I guess you could, for lack of a better word, that you really enjoy it more than just if you were sticking to such and such peppers or tomatoes.
You know a lot about plants.
No, I don't know a whole lot. I just have a lot of fun playing with a lot of stuff. So
how long have you actually been growing plants?
I started gardening in 2008, I think. Maybe it was 2009. 2008, 2009, I started gardening. And then in 2020, I started gardening over here, and I became infatuated with different plants because, you know, my dad gardened, my grandfather gardened, and I was just kind of gardening how I'd been taught. You know, you grow the mortgage lifters, you grow these types of peppers, you know, banana peppers and hot banana peppers and beans and corn and 2020 I was bored and everybody, you know, was bored, and I was just like, you know what, I'm going to start looking for different stuff. And so I started looking. I was like, wow, look, there's a Siberian pink honey tomato. There's, you know, all these different tomato, watermelon beefsteak and a Ananias Noor, which is a black pineapple is another name for it. And there's so many different ones. And then I started watching a good friend now, John Kohler, and growyourgreens.com. He's on YouTube. I started watching him, and I learned so much from him, right, about all these different plants and stuff. And I just started like a sponge, just started soaking it up. And I was like, okay, now I got to buy this stuff, you know. So then I just started buying it, and then I would harvest the seeds out of it and stuff. And I mean, there's just so much that we don't grow because we don't know any better. We don't know that it exists, right? And if you go to places like Baker Creek and you start researching and looking, and you're like, wow, I didn't know anything about this. You know, I didn't know that there was any of these types of tomatoes or any of these peppers, any of these types of greens and stuff. You really opens up your encyclopedia, for lack of better words, and broadens your flavor profile, right? Because you're going to want to grow it, and if you grow it, you're going to want to eat it, you know. And even if, like, at first, some of these things I would eat, and I was like, I don't really like that. But because I still had more out in the garden, I continued to eat it, and I continued to tweak the recipe to where I liked it. And so what I found is while I might have struggled with that at first, like Swiss chard, right? I kind of struggled with that one at first. Very healthy for you. It's very good. but you got to know how to use it and how to cook it. And when you're new to something like that, you really don't know what you're getting into. And so, I didn't just discard it the first time. Whenever I didn't like it, I kept trying to figure out, okay, well, it's growing in my garden. I need to figure out how to make it useful for me, right?
How to use it.
So that kind of started the journey of learning about all this stuff and really trying to focus on how to eat healthier, how to help my kids eat healthier, and how to maximize what we were growing, and be able to utilize it. Because my wife made the comment one day. She says, "You're growing everything and all this weird stuff. We don't know how to cook none of it or use any of it." I was like, but we're going to figure it out, And so, like radishes, last year I went on this radish kick, and I bet you I grew like 20 different varieties of radishes, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, I just went like radish nuts for some reason. And she was like, "Well, what are you going to do with all that?" And I was like, "We're going to ferment it." And she was like, ferment it. And so I started fermenting it. And she was like, "Well, what are you going to do with it now?" I was like, "Watch this. Come here, kids. Y'all want some of these?" Yeah. We love to sit there and eat fermented radishes all day, right? And it became snacks, And so instead of them wanting bad snacks, Reese cups or whatever, right? Oh, I want some more of those radishes, or I want more carrots, or I want fresh carrots, or whatever, right? And that's what happened. That's what it's evolved to. And so now it's just trying to figure out how to grow all those things year round. So not only will I have fermented, but how can I also have fresh growing all year, when it comes to carrots and radishes and things like that. And so that's kind of what's going on behind me. We're trying to figure out how to grow ththese things year round, because it does get really cold here sometimes. Now, when I was a kid, it wasn't nearly as cold it was very cold compared to what it is now. Now it's not nearly as cold as what it was when I was a kid. But what we're getting is we're getting these weeks, like 1 week, 3 days to 7 days of -0. And then it kills off all the plants. And so that's what hurts us, because if we had a normal winter like we did when I was a kid, where it was snow on the ground from November till April, I could still grow in my greenhouse. But these weeks, these 3 days to a week of negative temperatures is what hurts me now. And so, and you don't know when it's going to come. You don't know if it's going to come in December. You don't know if it's going to come in February or March. You have no idea. And so now it's just trying to learn what to do. So I think the plan from now on is grow back here behind me from December until end of February. By the end of February, have everything ready to go that needs to go outside, either planted or ready for transplant. And I'll put that out in the greenhouse in March for my cool weather crops, and out in my raised beds for my cool weather crops. And we should be able to survive whatever comes from March until May and do pretty well then. And then, so that should fill the void for having fresh foods, because that's really what it's about. It's about having not just the canned food and the preserved food, fermented stuff. It's about having that fresh food as well. And I think, like I said, I think I solved that problem behind me here. So we'll see. We'll see.
Good. So what's your night temps there right now?
So it is very varied. Like last night, it was pouring the rain at 11 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And the only reason why I know that is because I kept having to go outside and put puppies up, because they kept getting out of their kennel, and I kept having to go. They kept coming to the porch, and they howling and stuff and wanting inside. And I was like, "You can't come inside no more. You got to go outside." And I kept having to put them back out in their kennel. And so it was raining from 11 till 2. And then I woke up this morning at 7, and there was snow on the ground. So yeah, like an inch of snow. So it's so wacky anymore. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no, for the past 2 years now, there has been no consistency in the weather. Like before 2023, 2023. So 2021, 2022, you could pretty much count on the lake would be froze pretty much all winter long. There would be snow on the ground on and off pretty much all winter long, but it would be cold. Nighttime temps 20 to 30 degrees, daytime temps between 30 and 45. And that's what it was. The past 2 years, we've had 60, 70, 80 degree days, like weird crap going on all the way till like December. December comes and you're getting 60, 70 degree days, you know, and then like 30 degree nights. And then you'll have that weird span where it freezes everything a hard freeze and gets -0. And, you know, like it was just last month, it was -30 here with a wind chill, you know, and it was like that for almost a week straight. And then it just warmed up, and I got grass out here trying to grow. I've got trees trying to.
We seen 2 degrees on Saturday on our way home. And then how warm do you think it was today?
39.
He
42.
says between 39 and 42 today. And that's our high here.
And see, that's weird. That's very odd because it's just such a big swing anymore.
It's so last year we had snow from November all the way till April, May. It was bad and it was deep. We didn't get snow on the ground until January.
That's weird, especially out in the mountains like that.
So the mountains have gotten it. But down in the valley, we didn't get snow until January. How much do you think's up in the mountains right now?
Payson Canyon, probably 1.5, 2 feet.
I think it's deeper than that.
10 feet last year.
So there's probably 2-3 feet up there versus he said 10 feet last year.
Wow. That's insane. That's a big difference.
Yeah, last year we had several rivers actually break their benches.
Really? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because we had so much water coming down from the mountains and our lakes were full, and so we were shipping it off to the next lake, which was full, and it just ended up breaking all the levees and that. So
man,
we flooded last year.
Right. Janet said that, you know, this is the first year in 40 years that they had a green Christmas. I don't know how many years it's been since we had one, but we had a green one this year as well. Yeah, there was no snow
this year. We didn't last year, but we did this year.
Right. It's just weird, just so weird how things happen, and you know, and I don't know. There's parts of me that think they mess with the weather. You know what I mean? They play with it and stuff, and you know, you really can't talk about that here because if you do, you're gonna set off some kind of alert, whatever. You know what I mean? They'll put you on some sort of a ban or strike on you, but. You know, I really do think that there's a lot of playing around with it, and
I do.
You see videos all the time where they're setting off the stuff with the planes and stuff, and you know, I'm not going to call it by name, but I know you know what I'm talking about. You know,
well, you got to look. So I lived here in Payson for my entire life, and it was probably the last 10, 15 years that we started having green Christmas. Yep. And we always had snow in October, early November. There was a lot of Halloweens that we went Halloweening, trick-or-treating in the snow.
Yep. Same here.
I don't think any of my kids have gone trick-or-treating in the snow, but they've been in like snow clothes to go because it's been cold.
Right.
We have done the Easter egg hunt. So like we put the Easter eggs out for like the city, and then that night it snowed, and so they would have to go find the eggs in the snow. They've done that multiple times.
Yep, we've done that here. Usually we have an Easter snow. You know, I'll tell you what. So yesterday, me and my buddies, we go out in the summertime. We go out every Monday, and we go fishing every Monday, and we fish from 7 o'clock in the morning till way out into the afternoon. And they were bored, and they were like, let's go do something. So we went and done some stuff yesterday, and we didn't go fishing because it was raining, but we ran down to one of the they turned the New River Gorge into a national park now. And it was a state park, and now it's national park. And anyhow, we went down in there, and to one of the visitor centers, and I noticed that there was these little flowers popping up like this, and I was like, "What are them? I've never seen them before." And I think she called them snow pea,
Snow peas.
Yeah, not like an actual snow pea, like that you would eat, but let me see here. Let me see if I can Google it. Flower.
We've got grass. I should probably look and see if my irises are trying to come up because they were like 2 years ago.
Yeah, anyways, these little flowers were coming up, and I was like, "What in the world are them things?" Because I'd never seen one before, and that lady, one of the rangers, come out and said, "Oh, that's snow something or another." Yeah,
there is a plant called snow pea.
Yeah, but snow pea, I think, is what I'm finding here is like the actual snow peas that you eat, like the pea. I'm trying to see, maybe what did she call it?
So put snow pea flower.
I put that, and it still popped up the snow peas. Let me see if it's not that. What in the world? I'll have to do some research. It's a snow something or another, and it's very, very tiny. It comes up by a bulb, and so anyhow, I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, February, shouldn't nothing be coming up right now, And she was like, because both of the rangers were like, "There's something up out there," and I'm like, "There's a whole sidewalk full of them right now. Go out there and look." And up they were, and they were like, "Oh wow, we've not seen them yet." Like there they are. And then we went down to the eagle's nest, and we were watching for the eagles and seeing if they were in the nest, and they were in the nest, and there's a breeding pair again there. And so we looked down over the bank, and there's Easter lilies popping up already. And I mean, this is February. That shouldn't happen until March. I've seen people posting pictures of dandelions already coming up.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. Phil did say we were going to have an early spring.
Yeah. Yep. He did. So, but we ain't really had a winter. So
yeah, true that.
So it's crazy anymore. Everything that goes on and stuff. And it does make a person wonder what all is going on and being done and stuff, because it's not normal. It's not normal at all. But
you hit the light.
Is there anything that you want to we might have missed in this that you want to let everybody know that's watching?
Just know I'm learning right along with you guys. I am no expert, nor is my little guy. This is my sidekick. He's in probably 95% of my videos.
Yep.
Most of them.
Yep, most of them, huh? Yesterday he was a little shy. He's like, "No, I don't want to be in." And then I got him in at the very end.
I like the camouflage green beans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are phenomenal. Did you try them?
Yes, they are good. They are very good.
Yep. They are.
Yes, I like them. I'd never heard of them until that video, and I was like, I gotta try that out, man.
Yep. So my dad's mom made them. So my grandma made them. And then my mom made them all growing up, and I've made them all my kids' childhood.
Well, they're very good. They're very, very good.
Yeah, so when I made that dish, I was like, okay, what am I gonna make? And I didn't realize like how odd it was for some people, because that's just what we eat here.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, nobody's heard of root beer pork chops or camouflage green beans.
Right. That was another. I'm going to have to try them too. We don't eat a whole lot of pork chops here, but I'm going to definitely try them, because I was just like, I ain't never heard of root beer, but I got to try that, because I mean, that's got to be good.
Yeah. And there was a few that had never heard of the pineapple casserole.
Right. I'd never heard of that either.
Yep. So we seen it one night on Moonshiners, and I was like, I'm going to make that. And it was right there by Thanksgiving. So I made it for Thanksgiving, and everybody devoured it.
I'm trying to talk the Moonshiners into taking one of my pumpkins. and making moonshine out of one of my giant pumpkins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I haven't got anybody to bite yet, but I'm very, 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 very diligently working and aggravating the crap out of them to take one of my pumpkins and turn it into a moonshine. So we'll see.
Just tell Tickle you'll deliver it. Hey, if I bring
I've told Tickle, I've wrote Tim, I've wrote the Laws, I've wrote Josh, I've wrote oh goodness, what's the two old John Wayne Ramsey and he calls the other guy Puss. What's his name? I can't think of his name. He's the other old. He's the other old feller. But I've wrote them all and stuff, trying to get them to take a pumpkin from me, and I haven't been able to get them yet. But we're gonna keep on trying until they take one. If I have to, I'll just figure out where they're shooting at and just show up with a big pumpkin one day and be like, "Here you go, boys."
Well, when you do, I want a bottle.
Yep, there you go. So, but it's been a good place to be here. I'm gonna tell everybody who all we have coming on in the next couple of weeks. So February 20th, which is next week, we got Gail's Southern Living going to be on with us. February 27th, we have Michelle from Big Valley Living going to be on. March 5th, we have Dirty Punk Gardening with Jeremy. He'll be on. He's really big on Instagram, and he does have a YouTube channel, so go check him out here. March 12th, we're going to have Blues Self-Reliance, and we're going to be a little bit late that day so that we can make sure that we're on.
Big time difference.
Yeah, there's a big time difference. So we're going to be a little late that day, but we're going to be on. And we're going to have Blues on here because she's a phenomenal person as well.
Oh, yeah.
March 19th, now, it won't be a live stream on March 19th. I have already pre-recorded the video. It'll be out on March 19th, and it'll drop at 8 o'clock. And it'll be with John Collier from growyourgreens.com or right here on YouTube, Grow Your Greens. He has almost 1 million subscribers. And and I was able to get him on here, and we became pretty cool with each other. He is a phenomenal person. I have learned a lot from his channel. So if you're not subscribed to his channel, you don't know nothing about his channel, go over and check his channel out. John Kohler. You can spell it JOHNKOHLER or Grow Your Greens. All right, and you can find him there. He's going to be on. It was a phenomenal 50-some minutes. That we did an interview with him. And like I said, he's a great guy. Really appreciate him coming on because there's been a lot of YouTubers that are bigger channels, and I've tried to get them on, and they wouldn't come on. But none of them had nearly the amount of people this guy's got, and he came on just like that, no hesitation. He just didn't want to do a live, which was fine with me. I was just glad to get him on and interview him. So March 19th, set your calendars for that. It's a lot of good information from a very, 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 very intelligent person. Makes me look like a kindergartner. I mean, this guy is very, very smart. March 26th, we still have somebody trying to get in there on that date, so I ain't going to drop the bomb on that one just yet. April 2nd, we have Aileen, Welcome to My Kitchen. April 9th, we have somebody that we're still waiting on for that one. April 16th, we're moving into the giant growing season, so we're going to start bringing some giant growers on, and we have Travis Ginger and Randall from Extreme Gardening. April 23rd, we have Jim Ford coming on. He's a giant grower as well. April 30th, we have Chad New from Colorado Giants. May 8th, we have Tony from Kettle Kitchen. May 14th, we have Christine from Gillen Farms. May 21st, I'm waiting for somebody to tell me yes for that day. May 28th, we have Enoch Graham, the Urban Gardener. June 4th, we have Zach Hatton from Hatton's Homestead. June 11th, we have Nick Kennedy, who is another giant grower out in California. June 18th, we have Adam Weber, who is also another giant grower. And June 25th, we have Jesus Loving Homestead. And we'll stop there for now. And next week, I'll give you an update on into July. But guys, we've almost got the entire year full. And so, like I tell everybody, if you want to come on, I want you on. I don't care if you got 1 subscriber or 1 million subscribers. It doesn't matter to me. I want to help spread the word of homesteading, gardening, and that you can do it. All right. So come on and message me at babydrill2119@yahoo.com and let me know you want to come. In the subject title, put live stream, and we'll get you a date set. I'll give you all the dates that we don't have anybody, on it, which is becoming very, very, very few. So we've almost got the 2024 calendar full, and I'm going to start working on 2025. So again, if you want to come on, please message me at babydrill2119@yahoo.com. Subject, put live stream, and we'll get you a date. And if we have to, we'll get you on over into 2025. But I really appreciate you coming on with us tonight.
Yes, it was fun. Oh, where'd you go? I don't know if he's still there or if he disconnected. I don't know, guys. Ryan. I don't know. He blanked out, so I don't know if he's there or gone or if we're done.
Oh, no, hang on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Hang on a minute. I don't know what happened. My computer went bonkers. It says my browser lost connection to the camera. Oh, phooey. Let me see. That work? No, it ain't going to work. All right. Well, I guess. There we go. Man, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know what's going on with my computer. I have no idea what happened. It just blacked out for some reason. And I was like checking cords and everything. Everything was plugged up and all. So I don't know what happened. Anyhow, guys, sorry for that. But again, we appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for coming and spending it with us tonight, Tonya. And guys, we'll see you next time right here in the hollers and hills of West Virginia. See y'all.
Yep. Thanks, guys.